Hi, you're listening to a 10-minute excerpt of the Photo Tips podcast, and today we look at how you can photograph that really cool looking sunset or sunrise. How do you get those really cool colors? Well, stay tuned and we'll tell you how. Okay, so our photo tip for this week is going to be photographing a sunrise or sunset. And what we're really going to want to be accomplishing here is to get those really beautiful heavy reds, oranges, yellows, some dark blues. We're trying to get those beautiful colors into our sunset. A lot of times what we do is we get a camera and we go out there to take that sunset and we fall flat on our face. For some reason, we're just not getting those beautiful colors that everybody else seems to be getting when we look online. Well, there's a reason for that, and this will be the fastest photo tip of all time because the secret to this is so incredibly simple, and you're going to be like, what? Why didn't I know that? But it's really simple. Are you ready for the secret? Underexpose. That's it. We're pretty much done now. We can move on. All you have to do to get a beautiful sunrise or sunset photo and make those colors really pop is to underexpose your image. That's it. See, when you're taking a picture with the camera is it's dumb, okay? It's just a box, all right? It's a box with a hunk of glass on the front of it, and it doesn't understand that you're taking a picture of a sunset. It doesn't get that. So what it's trying to do is balance out the exposure all the way across the spectrum. What's left is a very muted looking image. We're not getting those colors like we want, okay? Because it's not only trying to, expose for the sky and the sun, but it's also trying to expose for the foreground, like the grass and the trees and stuff that may be there in front of you, okay? So what you need to do is to use what the camera gives you and then make a calculated adjustment over into manual mode. Now here's what I mean by that. First of all, I'll tell you that while I was preparing for this, I couldn't find any of my sunset photos. So I sent an email to a friend of mine, Mr. Kelly Wade. Kelly, you're now famous, man. There's 1,200 people that know your name and have seen your work. I sent an email to Kelly Wade and said, dude, give me some sunset pics because I can't find any of mine. Well, I waited and waited and waited, and normally he responds in like 5 minutes. But he took a few hours to respond this time, and by then I actually found some of my photos. But he had went ahead and sent them. So these first two photos are from Mr. Kelly Wade, who lives in Florida. Must be, God's country for picture making for sunsets because that's all the guy does. I swear, he gets off work, he drives to the beach, he takes pictures of the sunset. I hate him. I keep telling him, why don't you bring me out there, man? Hook a brother up. We'll go to the beach and shoot together. He keeps telling me to pay my way. And you know what? If he was a real friend, he'd whip out the checkbook or the credit card and he would pay my way himself. So I think he needs to prove his friendship towards me. Anyway, so these first two pictures are for him, or from him, rather. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to throw the camera into aperture priority mode. Now, again, aperture priority mode is sort of manual and sort of full automatic. It's like a blended of both. What you're doing is in aperture priority mode is you're choosing the aperture value that you want. Okay, and then what the camera's going to do is it's going to say, okay, well, if Mr. Photographer here wants this aperture value, then what do I need for a shutter speed to match that? I think this will work. Okay, so it's helping you out in figuring out what the matching corresponding shutter speed should be. That's how shutter priority mode works too, only in reverse. You choose the shutter speed, it picks the aperture value. Okay, but we're going to do this in aperture priority mode, and we're going to choose an aperture value of, let's choose f5.6. Now it doesn't matter because the sunrise, the sunset is going to be so far away from us. Depth of field really doesn't make a difference. But we're going to choose f5.6 because I know everybody in the audience that's listening to this has a lens that can go to f5.6. So we dial in f5.6 in aperture priority mode. We size up our shot. We take the picture and we look on the back. What was the shutter speed that the camera gave you? Okay, if the camera gave you a shutter speed of, say, I don't know, 1/1000th of a second, okay, the only thing that you need to do to underexpose your shot for the second shot that you're about to take and bring out those colors that we're looking for is double your shutter speed. That's it. I told you this was going to be simple. So if it gave you a shutter speed value of 1/1000th of a second, what you would next do is switch over into manual mode, dial in the same aperture value, f5.6, and then double whatever the previous shutter speed was. In this case, we said it gave us 1/1000th of a second. We dial in 1/2000th of a second, and that's all we need to do. You take that picture, you're immediately going to see a better result. You're going to find that those color tones are going to be warmer and richer and brighter and more colorful. And then if you look on the image and you think that maybe I need to underexpose just a little bit more, we'll dial in a faster shutter speed. Okay? If you think it's underexposed too much, slow down your shutter speed just a little bit and try again. But by the third shot, you'll have this nailed. Promise. Told you this was going to be the fastest, easiest to understand photo tip of all time. But if you don't know the secret, then you can't make it happen. But guess what? You know the secret now. So how can you see the complete podcast? Well, you don't need to own an iPod, but you do need to own iTunes. However, iTunes is free. Simply go to apple.com. Once there, simply click on the Downloads button. On the next screen, you'll see a link for iTunes. Simply click on the Download button. Now, once you have downloaded iTunes and installed it on your computer, the only thing you next need to do is look over on the left-hand side and you'll see a link that says iTunes Store. Click that. On the next screen in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see a search bar. Simply type in Photo Tips, one word. You'll quickly find the podcast up at the top left-hand corner, Photo Tips, Photography Tips by BC Photo. Click on that link. You'll be presented where the podcast is, and all you'll have to do is click on the subscribe button. That's it. That's all you have to do. Hope you subscribe and check out the whole show.